Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today we are going to do a review on the Woomer 90 colors plus the addition of it to this 72 color set that they came out with that I reviewed last year in 2024. I guess October of 2024 I did a review on the Woomer colored pencils. This year they came out with a 90 set. I did purchase this set through the Woomer website. They were supposed to take a long time to get here. However, they were here within a couple of weeks. So they came with some paper and some HB pencils that have cute little puppy stampies on it or kitty stampies on it. So let's take a look here at the box. It also came with a swatch chart that I did not use all of, but you can see that the pencil colors are on the back. Gives the 3.8 millimeter core, break resistant. There wasn't any problems with the pencils when I got them, so that was good. This slips off. Let's see if I can get it to slip off. Mine were a little bit dented. It's just a cardboard box. So the cardboard box, and then you have little pull-out trays that the pencils sit in, which is really kind of cool if the box isn't damaged. If the box is damaged, it does have some difficulties pulling the trays out. So what I've done is I have combined them all into one pencil case. So I have moved them, and of course it does, like I said, come with a swatch chart, and I have started doing the swatch. I did go through and take out the pencils that are duplicated. So it does have some duplicates, as you can see. It does have those duplicated colors. However, there is a large amount of them that aren't duplicated. So the full set that mixes between the two sets is 133 pencils. So I've got them all in color order here. We will be looking at the swatch chart, doing a testing on them, going through the colors that are duplicate, as well as, yeah, my overall thoughts on the pencils themselves. All right, so that is what we're going to be doing today. Excuse me, I have a bit of a rasp in my throat. So let's take a look at the pencils themselves first of all. I'm going to zoom you in so we can see the pencil. So the pencil itself has the Woomer logo, colored pencil and that sort of thing. Then on this side, it has the light fastness of the pencil. It also has the name and number on the pencil. Now, this name and number, I'm going to turn off this light so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. So the name and number on the pencil is stamped in, but it's surrounded by that gold. So if you are in a bright room, that can become very difficult to see, so be careful of that. One thing I have noticed with the older set is the more I colored with them, the more the writing and that sort of stuff started washing off or wiping off with my hands. So that may be something that is um, a problem with my hands. So as you all know, everybody's chemical composition of their skin and sweat and everything else is different. So sometimes those acids and those oils in your skin can cause problems with paint, and that gold foil is a problem for me as as I have found out. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom back out. And I'm going to leave that light off just for a little while. If it does start showing a problem, with the colors and everything else on the swatch chart, I will turn it back on. But for now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a quick swatching of the colors. So grab your coffee, sit back, relax. This is going to take about 3 minutes to do. So we're going to do the swatch and then we'll do our testing and review of the pencils themselves. All right, so just give me a quick moment here. It is swatch time. All right, so that is the swatch. Now the colors on the end there that I accidentally cut off in the shot were these three colors here, which is the putty beige, clay rose, and the cadet blue. Now those colors are in the gray family, and when I put them with the other colors that are matching of these areas, like for example, this one I put up into the yellows, this one into the pinks, and this one into the blues, it really didn't fit into those areas. These are colors that when you put them next to other colors that are like them, they change color. So this one did show a very gray brown color. This one showed a very gray color, and this one here showed very gray. So putting those with those other colors did not work. Now I'm going to zoom you in, and I'm going to turn that light back on so that we can see what we're doing here. All right, so as you can see, we've got our white, and it's a very good white. It shows white against black, which is great. And then we have our yellows. So we've got our cream tones here, and then we've got our yellow tones here, and then we've got our dark yellow tones here. Our peach, our yellow orange into our peach, into our oranges, and then we go into our reds, our pinks into the red violets, into the violet colors here. And then we've got our blues. So we've got our lighter blues. These are brighter light blue. And then we've got our deeper blue areas here, into our blue greens, into our green blues. And then we've got our greens. So we've got our yellow greens, we've got our deep greens, our true greens, and then we've got our deep greens here. Here we have our brown greens, and into those artichoke, olive, those kind of the dirty greens. And then we've got our gray greens here. Then we go into our yellow browns, into our orange browns. So these are our terracottas and our sanguine, cinnamon, things like that. And then we've got our grays that are a little strange, but they're a good gray to have. So we've got our putty beige, clay rose, and our cadet blue. And then we've got our cold grays into our warm grays, and then of course our black. So we've got a really good range of color in that 133 colors. Now, those are all individual colors. However, there are some duplications. For example, on our swatch chart here, this is the swatch chart that comes with the set. All the ones with check marks are duplications. So there's a duplicate white, there's a duplicate light cadmium yellow, sunburst yellow, pink madder, light salmon, orange, light crimson, carmine, Alzarian crimson, Caribbean sea, cobalt teal, deep sky blue, light ultramarine, cornflower blue, ultramarine. So there's a lot of duplications in the blues. Pale violet, light magenta, light violet, light green, leaf green, green, juniper green, deep cobalt green, and then dark brown and cold gray 4 and black. Those are all duplications in this set, between the old set and the new set. Now here is the swatch chart for the old set. I'm going to zoom you back out a little bit here so that we can see the difference between the amount of colors that you get between these two sets. All right. So we're going to go all the way out in a nice wide area here. Medium. All right. So there you can see the two different sets side by side, or up and down here, whichever way you want to go. We've got, and of course my printer made a mess, so we've got a lot of colors that are added to this set. 90 colors added. And where we were lacking in colors in this set, we definitely have plenty of with the 90 added. All right, so both are really good sets of pencils. Like I said, this is a 72 set. This is the 72 plus the 90. We're going to do the same testing here, and we're going to work through that as well. Now, the cost per pencil is different, especially since I don't have a coupon for these, and these were not bought on Amazon. They are going to have a higher cost. So the cost for these 90 set was $60, which works out to be about 60 cents per pencil, where this one here was a lot less. This was, I think, 24 cents a pencil for the 72 set. So the difference in the cost is quite a bit when it comes to the amount that it's going to cost to increase the pencil amount and the palette. All right, so we're going to do some testing. Like I said, I've already done the testing on the Woomer pencils on the old set, which is here. I'm going to do that testing again just to make sure that the new set still has the same accountability, same water resistance and that sort of thing. As you can see, the old set was not very well water resistant. It did smudge. However, the blendability of this set is really, really good. So we're going to grab some pencils from the new set. We're going to make sure that we don't grab anything that was in the old set, because I do have pencils in here that were from the old set. So we're going to grab ones from the new set. So let's see. Just going to try to make sure I get one that isn't. So we're going to take, let's see. So we're going to take light yellow glaze for our yellow. And for our red, we're going to take, let's see. Just going to make sure that we get one that isn't in that other set. So trying to make sure that it's something that's new. So 147 is in the other set. All right, so we're going to use Crimson Lake, which is not in the other set. And in the blues, now blues, there was a lot of repeat in the blues, so we'll try to get one that isn't repeat. So let's try this one. So that one is not in that set. So we've got 3 that are not duplicated in the old set. So we've got Crimson Lake, Light Yellow Glaze, and India Throne, oh, I can never say that, India Throne Blue. All right, so we're going to start with our yellow. And as you can see, it covers very, very nicely. Now that is probably my husband landing. So I'm going to finish this up and check that text. I don't normally keep my phone hearable or noise level up. However, my husband is traveling home today, so I'm going to zoom you in a little bit closer as well so you can actually see what's going on here. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. I'm just going to check this text message. Yeah, so he has landed for his before his layover. So, okay, and here is our red. I am going to put in a couple of layers of the red, and you can squish these. They are very soft. So if you're used to using Prismas, these are a good pencil to work with for you. They're not as soft as Prismas, but they are a good soft pencil. And then the blue. All right. I think that's a good amount of color there. Now we're going to take our paintbrush, and I just saw it. Where did I put it? There it is. Paintbrush and water. That doesn't have the water in it like I expected it to, so we'll use the water brush, which works. So I'm just going to get that water brush moving. So as you can see, it's got the water there. And we're going to use a paper towel. So as you can see, the yellow does move. Not a lot, but it does move. Now the one that will move the most, of course, is the darker colors. So the red definitely moves. And the darker blue definitely moves. So those definitely do move with water. So do be careful with things such as stickles, gel pen, anything that has a water base that you would use on your artwork for embellishment. If you're using these pencils with a watercolor as well, do be careful that you don't come in contact with it with the water because it will blend in or run in to the areas that you are painting. So do be careful of that. Now we're also going to do a smudge test. The smudge test is more for me than anything else. Everybody should, of course, do a smudge test, but like I said, everybody's body is different. So the chemicals in my hand may not be the same proportion of chemicals in your hands. So when you rub your hands against them, they may not smudge. However, I know that my hands tend to smudge a lot of pencils. So I have a tendency to do this test just to make sure that I know to be careful when it comes to running my hand across them or moving from one area to another without blending or filling in the area. The blender will avoid that possibility of moving the pencil. However, sometimes you don't want to blend right away. So, especially if you want to add different colors or different textures to it, you may not want to blend that. Excuse me. Blend that color. All right. I think that's saturated enough. Now we're just going to take my finger. I'm going to make sure that it's dry from any possible water from the water brush. And then we're going to see about that smudge. So the yellow definitely moved a little bit. Red moved. And the blue moved. So there isn't a lot of movement for the blue and the yellow. There is quite a bit of movement when it comes to the red. Now we're going to do our 3-color blend. So we're going to take our pinks and we're going to do a blend. So we're going to, let's see, we're going to use Pink Matter, light purple pink, and violet pink, I think, maybe. So we're going to take these ones and the violet pink. All right. So we're going to start with the violet pink. And I'm putting down a good layer of the violet pink, both for the edge where it's going to be deepest and the area where it's going to blend into. All right, now the next one we're going to use is the light purple pink. And we're going to go into that violet pink. Blending those colors together to get that gradient. Now, I will remind you that I don't sharpen my pencils before I use them, especially when I have a new set of pencils and I'm doing a review. The reason for this, and of course, you should sharpen your pencils before you use them um, in any case. The reason why I don't is because a lot of pencil companies will state sharpened, ready to use, right out of the box, that sort of thing. And sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're coated with a coating that doesn't allow them to be used right away. So I don't, just want to make sure I have the right pink here. Yeah. So I don't sharpen them. I use them straight out of the box just to see if that coating is on there, if you are, if it's necessary to sharpen them. Sometimes they'll have, and they'll show you. You'll try to lay down color and it won't color if that coating is on there. These don't have a coating. They do lay down right out of the box, which is fantastic. When you're out and about and you want to color something, you buy a new set of pencils and you don't have a sharpener with you, having them pre-sharpened and ready to go is fantastic. But if you have that coating on them, it makes it very difficult to use them. It can be frustrating when you're trying to use them and you don't know that coating is there. So what you're going to look for, of course, is with that coating is a lack of color, and they feel very sticky. If you look at them, they'll probably look a little white. And when you try to color with them, they seem to stick or drag on the page. That is from the coating that's on them. So do be careful with that. And, of course, sharpen your pencils if you have the sharpener available. If not, give them a test. If they have those attributes that I just stated, know that they're not going to color very well and you're going to probably end up quite frustrated. But as you can see, we've got a good gradients from dark, medium to light. So they do blend and gradiate very, very nicely. Now we're going to do our rainbow blend. So we're going to go from our yellow into our red, into our red into our yellow, into our blue. So we're going to go from red to orange to green, red to orange to yellow to green to blue for our rainbow blend. So we're going to start off with our red. And I'm not pressing hard, I'm just layering that color up. I could press hard and get it all done as one, but I have a tendency not to do that. All right. Now when you are coming into a dark color like red with a lighter color like yellow, make sure that you wipe your pencil off before you start going into a different color. So I'm going to come into this. I'm going to get that yellow done first, and then we're going to add the tail for the green as well, so that when we come into it with the blue, that tail is going to be there. Now we're going to start going into that red. And as you can see, it's pulling that red into the yellow. Now, because we put down the red first, it's going to have a red-orange there. And then as we get into the yellow, it's going to start getting into that orange-yellow. Now we're going to take our yellow-orange, I should say. I'm going to take our red. I'm going to come into that yellow. And we're going to work that color in. I just need my brush. So as you can see, it's picked up that red onto the end of the yellow. Now while you're doing this, that's not a big deal. However, if I put this back into the pencil case without wiping it, I'm going to have an issue with that red being on the pencil. So you just wipe it off. You can either do it with your finger, on your sleeve, on a paper towel, you name it. All right, so we've got our red into our orange. Now we're going to take our blue. I want that yellow to come out a little bit more. Now because our yellow is already down, our green is going to be more of a green blue. Or a yellow green, blue green kind of color. Definitely have a green there. Now we're going to take our yellow and we're just going to bring that yellow in. Now this is a deeper blue, so it's going to show a lot more of that dark green instead of that yellow green till we've spread it into the yellow like that. So definitely does change color. We definitely have our red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So definitely does give us that rainbow. Now we're going to test with our blender and with our white. So we're going to test with our pinks here. I'm using that deep pink, so this is the violet pink. And this one I'm not going to layer. This one I'm going to bring right up against each other, and we're going to use the blender pencil to blend those together. And we're going to see how well the Caran d'Ache blender does with this set. All right, and then we're going to use this one. Nope, this one. Now remember, the lighter the color, the softer the pencil. The heavier the color, the more pigment is in the pencil, comparative to a lighter color that has less pigment in it. So you'll find that with your lighter colors, such as your light yellows, your pinks, that sort of thing, those pencils are going to be softer. They're going to squish a little bit more. You're going to need to sharpen them more to keep that sharp point. All right, so we've got our deep pink, our medium pink, and our light pink. Now we're going to take our Caran d'Ache blender, possibly, if I can find it. There it is. I'm going to make sure that it's clean. And then we're going to move from our lightest to our darkest. So we're going to move from our light pink into our medium pink, and we're going to see if we can combine them without and blend that line out and get that gradients, as well as remove any white spot from the page. So it definitely did do that blend. There's very little white spot left, and those harder lines have been eliminated. Oh, I didn't quite put enough down, that's why there was that dust, but it still blended those colors together, creating that 3-color blend. Now we're going to also blend with white. Now remember, when you're blending with white, that color is going to be taken down a notch with the white. So we're going to do the red, and this one I am going to layer because we want to have that smooth transition. I'm not going to do too much of an edge for it to blend into, but I am going to give it just a little bit of one. And then our deep pink. You know, as you can see, I'm not layering right into that red, just a little bit onto the edge. And then our medium purple pink, light purple pink. So we've got a red, a deep pink, and then a lighter pink. And we're going to start blending these with the white. All right, we're of course going to start at the edge of the light pink. I'm going to dust off any colors that are remain there. And we're going to go in the opposite direction to cover up that white spot. Now, as you can see, it obviously took that color down, but it didn't soften that edge a whole lot. It's still got quite a hard edge there. It did fill in the white spot and did spread the color around. However, it did not do as well in bringing those edges together as the blender did. But it still blended them. It still brought that color down. It still brought that that white spot out and spread those colors around to the white spot areas. Now, cost per pencil is about 60 cents per pencil for the 90 set. and 24 cents per pencil for the 72 set. Now, so 60, so 84 cents per pencil for the whole set, which is a little high. All right, so I would say about a 3 rating for cost per pencil. Now these are not open stock, so there's an X for open stock. Color saturation, I think we did pretty good on. The colors definitely do saturate, and there's a lot of good color selection, so I think we're good on that as well. All right, so we've got 3, 5, 5, 0. So that's 13 there. And then up here we've got failed there, and passed on these 4. So 17 out of 26 is our score for this set of pencils. Like I said, it's a much larger set. The Woomers are a very nice soft pencil. They do have a good amount of saturation. They do blend very nicely. There are certain things that I take into consideration when I'm reviewing a set of pencils. The reason being is because everybody's different. There's different requirements for different artists and different types of people that color. Um, Woomer does provide a light fast rating. I do not guarantee that light fast rating is correct. I will not state that, there's a light fast rating, so they must be light fast. I have not tested them. I don't do a light fast testing because I don't, put my art up anywhere that I know it's going to come in contact with daily light exposure. I do have some pinned to the wall in a frame, but those are on my wall, not anywhere where there's going to be sunlight getting to them, that sort of thing. So I'm not overly concerned with light fast rating. So we need to put these back. So let's 3. All right. So those 2 go there. Just want to make sure I get them back into the case here so I don't misplace them. All right, and that's that. So I've got them in a individual slot case, and like I said before, we have a good selection of pencils. I have put them in color order myself. This is not the order that they come in. So we've got our yellows into our oranges, into our reds, into our pinks, from our pinks into our purples, into our blues, from our blues into our greens, from our greens into our browns, and then our grays. So it takes up a good half of this 250 slot colored pencil case. And of course I will probably use the rest of this one for the rest of the Woomers, and possibly another set depending upon what I have available in the W's. But I like to keep them in this individual slot case instead of in the box. You can of course keep them in the box, but if you have the 72 set already and you want to combine that with the 90 set like I have done here, you're going to need to put them into a case, because the little slider box that the 90 set comes in is not going to hold all of those pencils. All right, so my thoughts on the Woomer pencils. I have always really enjoyed them. I found them through my affiliate links in October of 2024. I had a coupon, a really good coupon for them, and bought them on a whim, thinking, well, it's not a bad price for 72 set of pencils. They were very soft. They're really great with blending and everything like that. They're a good budget-friendly pencil. And once you do put out that extra bit of money for the full set, and if they ever come to Amazon US for that 90 set, um, hopefully the cost will be down. But if you go to the Woomer website, and I do believe it is, where did it go? Woomerart.com. You'll be able to locate the um, 90 set to purchase. Now, I paid a little bit extra for shipping because of taxes and that sort of thing, but it comes out to be about $60 to get the full 90 set shipped to you in this wonderful little box. And my mailman dropped mine, obviously. Now, even though they were dropped, and you can tell by the box that there was some damage done to the box, even though there was damage done to the box, there was no damage done to any of the pencils. None of the pencils were dented, none of the tips were broken, nothing like that. When you look at the tray it comes in, there's a thick amount of foam here, and then on the edge of each, so where the bottom goes and where the top goes of the pencils, let's see if I can find one that's not been sharpened, they fit really well, so they don't, and once there's a full set of them in there, they're not going to roll around or move around. So I'm just going to fill this tray just so you can see how tight they are in there. Well, maybe not fill it. So if I had two more pencils, I'd be able to fill it. And they just fit in this tray. Once they're in the tray, there's a couple more pencils that'll fit there. They don't move anywhere. And once they're, with the brand new pencils, of course, they're not going to touch that edge either. So you will have a good amount of room in there for them not to get bashed around. I was really surprised that there wasn't any breakage on any of the pencils. So my overall review of the Woomer 133 pencils is they're a good set of pencils. They're a good price for what you get. So unfortunately, they're not open stock, so you're not going to be able to replace them. So if you run out of those pencils and run out of colors that aren't a part of that 72 set, you may find that you have a problem replacing them. I don't worry about that myself. I have enough pencils in my repertoire that I don't think I would ever run out of pencils anytime soon. So I'm not concerned about that myself. If you prefer open stock, this is definitely not a set of pencils for you. However, if you enjoy the softer, really smooth pencils, this is a good set. Like I said, you can go to woomerart.com and purchase the 90 set. If you already have the 72 set, you're going to have about 24 pencils that aren't a part of that combination that are duplicated. So you'll have about 24 duplicates which is fine because then you have a couple of extras of those colors that you would probably use a lot to replace the ones that you don't. All right, so that is that. If you have any questions about the Woomer Color pencils, I am going to post the 133 colored pencil swatch chart on my Ko-fi shop. So if you do want to purchase the Woomer 133 colored pencil swatch chart, that is available for you to do so. I do put a price of $1 on it because that is as low as they'll allow me to. So I do try to make sure that I put a small available cost on that. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And of course, in the future, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye bye for now.